Okay, let me find the right clicker here. So yes, as Stefan said, I'm going to share with you the transformative journey that the brand has been on for the past couple of years. Before I do that, though, I'd like to share a little bit about myself, and then I'm going to give you a little background on the origin of Barbie. So a little bit about myself. I grew up in the 70s, if you can't tell by the references, and in between watching my favorite TV shows and playing my favorite movie soundtrack, Grease, I played with Barbie for hours on end. I have a sister. We would go into one of our bedrooms and we would make up stories for hours. And those stories were all about imagining ourselves as grown-ups and our future selves. And my favorite doll featured here is Malibu Barbie. And I grew up in San Francisco, which is Northern California. So I had this fascination with Southern California, that great beach culture, that fabulous sunshine. Anyway, fast forward to today, years later, I'm living in Southern California, Los Angeles. I'm overseeing the global Barbie brand, and I have 2 daughters that I've been lucky enough to see play with Barbie and have these exact same experiences as little girls. And my point in all this is playing with Barbie and going into her imaginary world can absolutely impact a girl's real world. And that's exactly what happened to me. So with that, Mattel is the manufacturer of Barbie, and Mattel is the largest toy company in the world. Our products are sold in over 150 countries around the world. And yet, interestingly, this large corporation started, like many of the amazing tech startups that we all read about and follow and so forth, in a garage in a little town called Hawthorne in the 40s. And at the time, the spirit behind this company was to be a creations company. And these inventors and designers and creators were determined to disrupt and reinvent play. And that's exactly what happened with the creation of Barbie. This is a picture of Ruth Handler, who is one of the co-founders of Mattel with her husband, Elliot Handler. And Ruth was the visionary behind Barbie. Ruth, in 1959, was an entrepreneur, a savvy businesswoman, and a mother. So she was clearly ahead of her time in the 50s. And Ruth observed her son, Ken, playing with all sorts of toys that allowed him to imagine himself in these different roles. He had an action figure that allowed him to be an astronaut. He was a firefighter. He was a doctor. But when she looked at her daughter, Barbara, she saw that Barbara had fewer choices. The only dolls that existed for girls at that time were baby dolls. So Barbara could play out nurturing play patterns like being a mother, which was great, but still limiting. However, Ruth also saw Barbara have a lot of fun with her friends with paper dolls. And every time she saw her daughter change the fashion of the paper doll, she heard a new story unfold. And she saw her daughter imagining herself in different scenarios through that paper doll. So she felt like there had to be an idea to bring that concept to a 3D form factor, and hence introduced Barbie to the world. Although it wasn't a slam dunk, Barbie was introduced at Toy Fair in 1959 in March, and she was disruptive. No one had ever seen a female figured doll, 11.5 inches, in that kind of a form factor. And this was an industry, the toy industry, including the retailer industry, that was all male. So the men were really uncomfortable, and Barbie was not well received. But Ruth knew that girls didn't see Barbie that way. Girls saw Barbie as a platform for imagination, so she had to get the doll exposed to girls. Because Ruth and Elliot were living in Los Angeles, they happened to be friends with Walt Disney. And they decided to make a very significant bet. They took much of the company's finances, and they made a bet on a new form of marketing called TV advertising, and they created a commercial and they ran it on the Mickey Mouse Club show. Let's take a look at the first commercial.
Barbie, you're beautiful. You make me feel my Barbie doll is really real. Barbie's small and so petite. Her clothes and figure look so neat. Her dancing outfit rings the bell. At parties she will cast a spell. Purses, hats, and gloves galore. And all the gadgets gals adore.
Barbie dressed for swim and fun is only $3. Her lovely fashions range from $1 to $5. Look for Barbie wherever dolls are sold.
Someday I'm gonna be exactly like you. Till then I know just what I'll do. Barbie, beautiful Barbie, I'll make believe that I am you.
You can tell it's Mattel. It's swell.
Love that. Needless to say, little girls around the entire United States were blown away by that advertising, could not get enough of the doll, demands shot through the roof, and they could barely keep up. So a multi-billion-dollar brand was born, all based on this foundational vision of Ruth that through the doll, a little girl could be whoever she wanted to be. You can be anything with Barbie. Throughout the years, Barbie's had over 180 careers. She was an astronaut even before Neil Armstrong. She was a candidate before Hillary Clinton. We've had 4 Barbie for presidents. She's a muse to many designers, and she's a confidant to girls around the world. This is a brand with 58 years of history, again, over 180 careers, and more than 1 billion dolls have been sold. So that's great, but as we know, to stand the test of time and for Barbie to live another 50 years, we need to constantly evolve. Timeless brands can't stand still, and unfortunately, that's what had happened a few years ago. We had stood still, and we hadn't kept up with the change that was going on in society. And the headlines were horrible. The brand was losing relevance with our core consumer, and the business was plummeting. We were promoting an image of Barbie in all of our communication and even through our product line that was very one-dimensional, that was materialistic. When society was moving on to focusing on multidimensional and brands that have meaning and purpose. When we did a Wordle exercise with some moms of younger girls, everything that was played back to us was surface only. There was no messaging around Barbie as a role model and Barbie as a platform for creativity and imagination. So we knew we needed a revolution. Because again, many of us that work at Mattel had grown up playing with Barbie with stories like the one I told you about myself, but we realized that we weren't communicating properly. We did a lot of social listening, and we knew the time was now to act. And most importantly, we set out on a mission to change the way the world talks about Barbie. But we knew to do that, of course, we had to change perception. So what we did, which I know many of you have encountered before, is we looked to our past. The brand has a past of being an innovator. She disrupted the entire doll category and created a new category of play. We took risks, like I mentioned, by betting the company's assets on the Mickey Mouse Club. We needed to channel that risk-taking spirit. We also went back to the original vision of Ruth Handler, our founder. And we knew that we had an amazing brand promise and purpose to inspire the limitless potential in every girl. That's a universal truth. We just hadn't been communicating it. We also had great history in connecting to culture. I love this exercise that the team did where we looked at dolls through the decades and then corresponding magazines. And you can see how Barbie was keeping pace. But again, in recent years, we had lost touch with what was changing in society. So we knew we needed to regain that connection to culture. So we set out and we rallied around 3 big, bold moves to change the trajectory of the brand. The first thing we did was recognized that while girls are the user of our product, and we always want to capture the hearts and minds of girls and surprise and delight them, we had completely missed the mark by not marketing to parents, who are the purchasers of our product. So we knew we needed to develop a communication strategy to communicate to moms specifically to get them to reappraise the role of Barbie in their daughter's life. We needed to shift the messaging around Barbie from her functional attributes and her aesthetics, from what she is, to what she enables. So with that, we hired BBDO, the San Francisco office, and we began to author a purpose statement, a values statement, and it all laddered up to a macro campaign message: you can be anything. From there, we launched a brand film, and let's take a look.
Hello, my name is Gwyneth, and I'll be your professor today. And I will be talking about the brain.
Hi.
Hello, I'm your veterinarian today.
You're kidding.
Nope, I'm Dr. Brooklyn. See?
Okay, doctor.
Oh, here, let me see. Good morning, everyone. I'm your new coach. My name is Maddie. Nice to meet you. I had the most fantastic day in the office. You'll never believe what happened. We got that new business I wanted. You ever seen him fly?
Have you seen him what?
Fly?
No.
My cat can fly.
Okay.
The dog's brain can't think as much as the human's brain because there's no high school for the dog. This is Peter, the Triceratops. Peter is 1 year old. The T-Rex, Sally, is 1,002,252 years old. Knees up like a unicorn. Higher, higher. I've been to New York, Transylvania, Pennsylvania. We can think and do lots of stuff with our brain. Now, does anybody know how big the brain is? Anybody? Sophia. It is medium. Medium. Very good.
So love that piece of work, and again, huge kudos to our agency partners. That was shot with hidden cameras. It was completely unscripted. And needless to say, we got some amazing footage. It became a viral sensation. We ran this at the end of 2015 through social media, and it took off. We got 50 million views, hundreds of millions of impressions, and then we continued to fuel the campaign with a robust 360 marketing effort in 2016. We've received tons of accolades, and in fact, our Canadian team did a local adaptation of this with some You Can Be Anything experiences, and they're up for a bunch of awards this month. We're also up for some Effies coming up and even more Cannes Lions. So it's been incredibly well received, but more important than that, we have seen perception of the brand start to shift. Sentiment for the brand has become more positive, and it has definitely started to impact the business. And I think it really comes down to going from mass marketing to mass mattering. This new generation of parents doesn't want to just buy products. They want to buy into products. They want to buy brands that share their values. And that's exactly what we've been trying to do with our communication strategy on Barbie. However, as marketers, we all know that changing your positioning, changing your communication strategy is kind of the first thing you always want to do. And that's what we did on Barbie. But we knew we needed to follow it up quickly with massive product evolution. The brand is living now in an incredibly multicultural and diverse world, and we knew that our product line was not reflective of that diverse world. And we needed to move quickly to introduce more ethnicity, face sculpts, hairstyles, hair colors, eye colors, et cetera, to the line. So again, at the end of 2015, we introduced 24 new dolls to the mix, which did incredibly well. But we still needed to tackle Barbie's body. Ever since Barbie was launched in 1959, her body was polarizing. Now again, girls have never seen the body the same way that adults have. But nonetheless, by not addressing Barbie's body, which you can imagine for a company, this would be like addressing the Coca-Cola bottle. This is iconic. This is a form factor that we created that created a category. There's a lot of complexity to addressing Barbie's body. We have a system of play around fashions, accessories. These new body types needed to fit within that system. So it was a huge undertaking, but we knew it was the right thing to do. And so the design team worked tirelessly with research, with girls, and we introduced in January of 2016 a whole new line of dolls with 3 new body types in addition to our original Barbie: curvy, petite, and tall. We hired a documentarian, Rory Kennedy, to document the design and development process and girls' first reaction to the dolls. And here's a quick excerpt of that film. Take a look.
I'm gonna put some Barbie. It's a breakfast. It's important for Barbies to look different. You know, like the real people in the world.
This is radical because we're saying that there isn't this narrow standard of what a beautiful body looks like.
When I look at the line now, one is taller than original Barbie, one is more petite, and one is curvier.
It's going to be so much fun for the girls to really pick out dolls that they can relate to and that they connect with.
I like them because this one looks like me and this one looks like my mom. This one looks like my friend Non. Her name is Non.
They're seeing the differences amongst their friends and family being celebrated.
We have to let girls know it doesn't matter what shape you come in, that anything is possible.
When I grow up, I want to be a teacher if I have time. I like being a scientist. That makes me feel like I can do anything.
This is what our future looks like because this is what the world looks like.
It's kind of cool to have people look different. These dolls look like everyone I see walking by at the path of Wonderland.
Chokes me up every time I watch it. Anyway, I couldn't be more proud of the work that the team has done by introducing more diversity into the line and creating a more inclusive brand. And I think the headline in Time magazine captured the team's sentiment beautifully, because while we absolutely want to have a more diverse and inclusive line, we really want to, again, move the conversation away from what the doll is to what the doll enables. But by adding a broader, diverse line and more variety, we're certainly making the brand much more accessible to girls everywhere. The consumer reaction around the world has been tremendous. We've garnered over 5 billion media impressions. I mean, just massive response. It was the #1 trending story in the news when we launched at the end of January, and again, the sentiment has been tremendous. I'm also thrilled to say that our best-selling doll to date is our curvy Latina doll, which I think is, again, very reflective of what is going on in culture. In addition to that, our final bold move was to lean into role models. Barbie herself is a role model for girls, but we also know that for girls to achieve their dreams, they need to see more role models around them. And so we initiated a program about 1.5 years ago called Sheroes, where we are creating likeness dolls of women that are breaking through in their respective areas, breaking boundaries, and true impressive trailblazers. And I'm thrilled to announce that our Gabby Douglas doll is actually going to be on sale starting next week. We've also been doing one-of-a-kind programs with influencers. This is a great partnership we launched at the end of last year with Ashley Graham. Ashley, for those of you that don't know, is a body activist. She's given a really powerful TED Talk. She's also a plus-size model and a designer. And again, the response to this partnership was just tremendous. So all in, I would say over the past 1.5 years, we couldn't be more proud to be leading this conversation and commitment around diversity, inclusivity, and empowerment. And as a result, the brand has definitely been turning. The buzz and the earned media alone has been incredibly impactful to shift the trajectory of the brand. And again, the consumer response has been fantastic by these 3 bold moves. In addition, our financials are improving. We ended the year last year up 10% in sales as the #1 girls property in the world, the #3 toy property after Star Wars and Nerf, and we gained market share. So with all that, just a quick peek into what's next. Obviously, we're continuing to lean into diversity. By the time we finish our 2017 line, we will have introduced 80 new different multicultural dolls to the product line. And we're going to be taking diversity across the whole line as well as body diversity. One area that we're excited about is our fairy tale line. So you're going to see curvy mermaids, you're going to see petite princesses, and so on. And then, of course, we're continuing to follow up with our brand purpose communication. And this year, we've just started to launch around the world a new expression of our You Can Be Anything campaign. And this year, our intent was to expand our reach and to be more inclusive with dads. And interestingly enough, what we found is through some insight work with a couple universities that girls that have had in their younger years a very positive relationship with their father or their father figure have much more self-esteem and self-confidence as they enter into their adult years. And there's a definite connection to their emotional development. So with that, I'd love to show you the beginning of our new campaign this year, Dads Who Play Barbie.
I'm a typical man's man. I'm here to see the doctor.
She'll see you in a minute.
Sundays are always football, and now that gets interrupted with a little Barbie time. Is the doctor ready yet?
Not yet.
You would do anything to make her happy.
Oh my, you are truly sick.
Well, what should I do?
Take a bunny.
So this campaign has also done fantastic right out of the gate. Now, granted, because we had some learnings from the past campaign, we did throw more money at this. So already we're at double the views than we had with the last commercial I showed you. But nonetheless, it's taking off and it's really resonating. And I think what the best proof point is the social engagement that we have with real dads submitting, and posting real images and real commentaries and stories about their experience playing with their daughter, which is just creating incredible sentiment, positive sentiment and impact. So I think it's safe to say that we're on our way. I like to always say progress, not perfection. I never want to be the George Bush with the mission accomplished flag up, because there's so much work to always do. And I think, again, Timeless brands just can never stand still. We have to be constantly listening, be maniacal about the consumer, and, evolving. But I do think if you stay to what's true to your brand and to your purpose, and you're authentic about that, there's nowhere you can't go. So to share, as we look to the future, what I'm challenging the team to do is, while we've stated our purpose, we've communicated our purpose, we now absolutely have to live our purpose in everything that we do. So we're looking at ways that not only can we encourage girls to reach for limitless potentials, but where are there opportunities where we can also help remove barriers that are preventing girls from reaching their limitless potential. So you're going to see us start pursuing some interesting new partnerships in that realm. And again, all in the effort of advancing girls. Thank you very much.